We're turning the screen purple, Vinny, for Breeders' Cup weekend. Two of the best days in racing. How excited are you for what's about to transpire?
Yeah, it should be a great weekend. All the races look very competitive, and for the most part, we got full fields, and that's what we hope for. So, should be two great days of wagering at least.
Absolutely. Be sure to jump in and play along with us. It's the last two events of our October tournament with free money, two horse tourneys on the line. You can go to doublingdown.glide.page. You can see it right there on the sidebar and put your picks in and play along with us. We're going to do a daily double for Breeders' Cup Friday, which is today, as this is releasing today. And then we'll do one for the Classic and the Mile as the second event. There you see the leaderboard. Perfectly possible to catch up with the big pools, and the if you get some long shots in, 6380 is something that you can overcome. So make sure you get them in. It's free to play. Vinny, we're going to move quickly through what we're going to do on the first day of Friday, which is race 7 and race number 8. Race 7 is your Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Grade 1, who are you going with on top?
I landed on Tommy Joe on top. I really hated her last race, and if she doesn't bounce back, this is a terrible pick on top. I just thought the way the race looks like it is on paper, with the amount of speed that there is, she should get a good trip, and that's all I'm hoping for. Is that she went. The last race wasn't great. She technically won by DQ. She's got to improve though. So I'm using her on top. I think there's a little value there. I am also using the number 7 Explorer for Bob Baffert. She looks like the most likely winner. She looked fantastic in her last race on her home track. I would not be shocked if she kind of blows this field away. I am using the other Baffert, Bottle of Rouge, the number 2, with Mike Smith. I like that last race. Has had a little more time off than Explorer. I thought that one was interesting with the way the pace looks like it is on paper. Should get something nice to close into. And I'm also using the number 3, Meaning, making her second career start. They're 2-year-olds. She has a big jump between her first and second start. She could be it. I don't think anything in this field looks like it's unbeatable. So I went 4 deep here. How about you?
I'm going to go with 2. I love Explorer. I said in the chat I probably would single this horse. I thought that last effort at San Renito was really impressive, especially considering they took blinkers off. I think that really worked for this horse. Was very comfortable looking and winning that race easily. Early speed, Equibase speed figure 97, Baffert at Del Mar. Give me all of that. Probably not doing the best for my value here by adding the 4 Percy's Bar, but for every reason you like Tommy Joe is why I like Percy's Bar. I thought Percy's Bar was much better in that last race, and Tommy Joe was never going to get past. This horse is versatile, winning from off the pace or on the front. Luan Machado and Ben Colebrook, I think they're going to have a breakthrough performance here, which is going to put them on the map. So I'll go with the 4 and the 7 in the first leg here. You use so many, it makes me think you're probably going to go single here in the next leg. Is that the case?
That I am. I'm singling the number 13 Precise for Aiden O'Brien. This horse, the negative on this horse is that she drew post 13.
Yeah.
She 4 for 5 lifetime. She lost her maiden race and hasn't lost since. She's won back-to-back grade 1s, including last time out at this distance. She just looks the part, and if she can overcome early that post 13 and gets over, I think the rest are running for second here. O'Brien is great with these 2-year-old turf horses generally. And I really would not be shocked if this is one of the lower price winners of the weekend.
Yeah, on paper, absolutely looks it. I'm going to take a shot that Precise in the post position do cause trouble and try and get a shot of a price in here. I know I'm messing with a very strong horse, so I kept 13 on my ticket again. That's not smart, but it's Breeders' Cup, and maybe it'll pay a little bit better. But I'm going to go price hunting with the number 2, Queen of Hawaii. This horse is 2 for 2 at the distance, a Group 3 winner in Island, going over good ground. I think the horse might like the firm ground here at Del Mar, and that speed figure of 101 jumped off the page to me last time out. I'll also use the number 8, Brave Deb, at 20-1. Why not? 90 Equibase speed figure last time out at San Renita in a grade 3. Broker maiden at Del Mar first time. This jockey has gotten some prices home on the turf. This is a spendthrift horse, 20-1, not a bad price. So we'll use the 8 Brave Deb as well. And then the only other one I'm going to use is the number 10 Valentina. Someone in the Discord, I think it was Parrot, got me interested in this horse for O'Brien with Ocean and Murphy aboard at 30-1 and then price. So 2, 8, 10, 13 for me in the Juvenile Fillies turf. So that's the double for Friday, and now we're going to move on to the double for Saturday. Make sure you get your doubles in on the app for both of them. First up, Vinny, is going to be the Breeders' Cup Classic. What a disappointment to not have Sovereignty in the field. Obviously, that really took some luster and some wind out of our sails, but you still have a very competitive handicapping race. I think you can go in multiple positions. You've had a horse on your radar for a while in this race that you've talked to me about. I assume you're going to have him on your ticket. Where are you going on top?
Yeah, on top here, I landed on Fierceness on top. And he was lone speed before Sovereignty scratched. I still think he's lone speed. I know Pletcher's not, thrilled about getting the rail draw again. But with the rail draw, if Johnny can get him out of the gate quick, and he did last time out, I think this race could be very hard for everybody else. I know Chad's got the rabbit in here in Contrary Thinking. If Johnny breaks well on Fierceness, I don't think Contrary Thinking even gets near the lead, because he's not a I don't think he's a classy enough horse to stick with him early. I don't know if he's even going to outbreak some of the two around him in Nevada Beach and Forever Young.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I
the
think
slowest
Contrary
rabbit I've
Thinking
seen.
Right. I think he really needs. I think Contrary Thinking really needed the rail, and he didn't get the rail. He's got, not that I don't think Nevada Beach is amazing, but I think he's much better than Contrary Thinking. So I think Contrary Thinking, if he wants that lead, he's going to have to go probably sub 22.5 to get it early. And if he does that, Fierceness just sits the same trip he did in the Pacific Classic, where he sits second on the inside and just waits for him to come back to him, because he's not going to wire the field going sub 22 to the opening quarter. We saw what happened last year with Fierceness, where he was part of that crazy pace, and he got past super late, and that was it. But yeah, I just don't see. I don't see it happening. And yeah, you watch this replay here, and Fierceness is actually, he's tucked away on the inside here. But this whole field ends up these top few horses here end up coming back to him. He's sitting there on the rail, Fierceness. So he sits third. He sits third here, but he keeps the rail, and he doesn't really like running on the inside of horses, but he ends up doing just fine. This pace comes back to him. They go sub 23 here, and both of these horses just come right back to them. So if they do this if Contrary Thinking wants to do this in the Classic, I think it just helps him. The other horse I'm going to use is Forever Young. I feel like
let's go.
I just without Sovereignty, he always does just enough to make you really like him. And that is the comeback race was just what he needed. He finished third in the Dubai World Cup. He won the Saudi Derby, the Saudi Cup this year. He's just classy. And if for some reason the pace ends up kind of like it did last year, where they do go super quick up top and horses start slowing down at the end, that's his game. He's just gonna pick off horses, and maybe he gets there, maybe he doesn't. I don't think he's the best closer in here. I think Sierra Leone is the best closer that's left, but I think he'll be close enough to the pace where he can make that move and win. And we've seen him hang with these horses before. He did come in third in this race last year. But again, last year you had a much fuller field last year, and I really don't think his trip was fantastic
Right
last
here,
year.
look on the rail. This is not where he wants. This is an uncomfortable trip.
Right, right. I didn't think it was a great trip last year. They get him back here this year. He's run. I mean, he's finished in front of Fierceness before. I mean, he was on that photo finish with Sierra Leone in the Derby. He's just a classy horse. So I threw him on my ticket because I think he's kind of going to be forgotten about on the board with Sierra Leone and Fierceness. I think you are going to get probably that 4 or 5 to 1 price on him. And, I really wouldn't be shocked if they just run back last year's trifecta. So I'm using 2 of the 3 on the double ticket. I hope Sierra Leone doesn't end up burning me.
I'm going to go Forever Young as well. We watched Fierceness together Whitney weekend. What did you walk away? We both at the top of the stretch. We turned to each other and said, "What?"
He looked like he was 1-9 at the top of the stretch.
And then what?
He threw in the towel.
Yeah,
he threw in the towel. And it was done. He's a weird horse. I guess like the argument is that like he seems to really like Del Mar. You look at his races at Del Mar and like he's got the Pacific Classic. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile over that track, and the even last year's Classic. Like you could argue that was probably his best career race. I mean, he ran on that suicidal front end, put everybody else away, and just coughed it up in the last 100 yards to Sierra Leone. Like that was, he ran a monster race. So maybe he just really likes Del Mar. I think that was kind of why I ended up using him on top. Is just like he likes to win here.
yeah. I ended up with Forever Young. He's been a horse, obviously, with Japan that I've touted for many of these big races. Derby didn't make me look silly and has backed that up by being a very professional and successful horse. I think third time's going to be a charm. If it was Sovereignty, I certainly would have had him as my pick.
Yeah, I agree. If Sovereign, like the one good thing about Sovereignty scratching here is that it opens the race up as a very competitive betting race. I honestly think he probably would have been 6-5, maybe 4-5, and he probably wins, and you get no value out of this race. At least you're like, yes, you're not gonna get your 10-1 if you like Mind Frame or like anything like that. Like we probably cut your odds in half of everybody else because the other horses are gonna get bet. Besides probably contrary thinking. Everybody else is probably going to be a little bit lower than what their original morning lines say. But even with that said, I think it makes the betting even. So I don't think you're going to see like some of these combinations absolutely destroyed in the double pool or the exacta pool or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not high on the 3-year-olds. When Sovereignty comes out, I kind of just automatically, I don't want to say automatically, I'm interested a little bit in Baeza. I've heard a lot of people picking Baeza recently. Journalism, not for me. Nevada Beach was actually a little bit of interest, to be honest, if you're looking at the prices. But ultimately, Forever Young was where I landed on top. And then I texted my man Sean today because I was not knowing what to do with number 10, Antiquarian. And I'm going to put him on my ticket. I'm going to use him on my ticket. I think that performance in the Jockey Gold Club, obviously there was some interesting shenanigans at the beginning of the race, which throws it into the loop a little bit. The race before that in the Suburban, we talked with Sean, and he had some inside information of when Antiquarian came around that turn and saw the ambulance driver, got distracted and didn't finish as strong as he probably would have in there. Centennial Farms likes him. Sean likes him. You're going through the field. Mind Frame was one that was really close to being on my ticket. Really think that he's more maybe the horse that I want for the value for the Pletcher barn instead of Fierceness. I just worry going down back on the rail. What's the one thing Pletcher said he didn't want before the draw was the rail. He gets the rail. Yeah. And suddenly, because of what happened in the Pacific Classic, everyone thinks he's going to be okay to overcome whatever. Well, me and you saw him in person Whitney Weekend, and that's what's in my mind. And I'm always wrong on fierceness, right? We hammered him Whitney Weekend. I was wrong. I didn't play the Pacific Classic, but he was obviously a big performance. So it's kind of like I've been burnt too many times. Not that I haven't been burnt by Forever Young, although I had him in the Saudi Cup, which was a really nice performance. We'll see if we can get Forever Young and Antiquarian home for the first leg of our daily double for Breeders' Cup Day. Don't forget to sign up, swing on over to doublingdown.printful.me. We have merch available right now, some new Doubling Down hats, Doubling Down shirts, and right now we're going to take a quick break on Nessa Nation, but stay tuned for the breakdown on the mile. Okay, Vinny, leg 2 of our daily double, race 10, Breeders' Cup, Saturday, November 1st. This one had me pulling my hair out. I've texted you for the last hour going, I can't decide what to do. We can't start the show yet because I don't know what to do. You very confidently texted me back and just said 2 notable speech and made it sound very easy. Notable speech is obviously very one not that I didn't want to mess with, the Godolphin. Charlie Appleby, William Buick, those connections are obviously very live on days like this. The speed figures pop off the table. The Woodbine Mile was the last race this horse won. Last time out, September 13th. Why are you so high on notable speech?
I mean, that Woodbine Mile was great, and this has kind of been the goal with this horse the entire year, is to get him back here. They brought him here, and he went off the favorite. He had a bad trip. He didn't have a great trip, and he lost to a very good horse in More Than Looks. Just missed. And this year hasn't gone exactly to plan up until that Woodbine Mile, but he's been running against some of the best milers the best milers in the world. And you look at his numbers, it's not like he's doing bad. I know 2 back he lost to Diego Velasquez, who there was nothing there in that Keeneland race, which was very odd. They decided not to keep Diego here for that reason. But yeah, this Woodbine Mile though was this was just a very he didn't win by much, but he was much the best here, and it was just a race where, again, I don't even think this really set up perfectly for him either, and he really just mows them down pretty easily once he gets in the clear. I just think he's classy. I liked him last year in the race. I also liked More Than Looks last year. But he's coming into this race. He looks really good. And Appleby sends them over here to win. So I thought he was one that I honestly almost singled him. If I hadn't missed last week's double with a bad single, I probably would have kept him as a single. But because of that, I'm throwing a couple other euros on my ticket here. But he's the one. He's my top pick on a super skinny ticket. He's my single here. But where else did you end up?
Well, we talked about how the international horses have been very successful in this race over the last couple of years, aside from last year. And you look at the field there, you can see we have a star-studded. We got Japan, Great Britain, South Africa, Chile, everybody's represented here in this Star International race. I love the horse you talked about, notable speech, but there were some others in here that I was intrigued by. How many times in our Discord have we said, Barrios long on the turf? Well, here he is, long on the turf at 30-1 on the number 6. That to me was just too enticing to not put on my ticket. Gran Oriente. Last time out, 110 Equibase speed figure. Obviously, the race in Chile makes you question that speed figure. But I just know this jockey, and he's the one that I want going long on the turf. And if he beats me in this double, I will never forget. That'll be something I'll be thinking about all the way until next year's Breeders' Cup. So for the extra $2, he's on my ticket. Absolutely. The other horses I was intrigued by were the number 8, Formidable Man. Look at the highlights, Vinny. I decided to read up on my Breeders' Cup complete handicapping book to figure out what do I need to do in order to find the winners on Breeders' Cup. It said go through and highlight all horses that have won at grade 1 or grade 2s, and it makes sure that they at least have 2 of them if they are older than 3 years old. Well, look at Formidable Man here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and look at Del Mar, Vinny. Del Mar Turf.
Yep.
6 for 6.
Yep,
4 for 7 at the distance, and you're getting him at 10-1 for Michael McCarthy. And I was on a podcast earlier with the Prop Queens, and I said, Johnny Velasquez, if you're wondering who Colin likes as I went through all my top picks, if Johnny Velasquez is the jockey, chances are that that's my top pick in the race because he is on all of the ones that I am really high on. And this was another one at 10-1 who I am interested in. Number 10, John Quill, was another one I wanted on my ticket. Colin Keane is your jockey there. This horse looks like a pretty solid closer. That could be coming nice and late, getting him at 10-1 as well. So, notable speech obviously looking impressive here, but I wanted some other coverage here as well, and you did too.
Yeah, I used the number 10, John Quell, as well. I liked him last time out. What race was that? In the Turf Mile at Keeneland. And that was just, like, watching that race back over and over, that was such a weirdly run race. You had your favorite didn't fire, your second choice didn't really fire. And Rhetorical ends up winning. But it was just an odd... There was a lot of speed, and then there wasn't any speed. They went quick early, and then they, crawled the second half, and then they super sped it up in the third quarter. It was just a weird run race. It was a very, very weird run race. Rhetorical wins, but I believe John Quill here is your number 12 horse on the outside, and I think just gets up for fourth. Ran a very big race considering how weird that race ran. So I'm okay with that. The other two horses that I'm interested in, I'm gonna butcher this name. Shalon, the number 3 horse. We'll go with it.
Sure.
From the Irish bred horse from France. Has run the last 5 races are 4 of the last 5 are graded stakes at this distance. Two back won a grade 3, last time won a grade 1 at this distance. The grade 1 winners at this distance or something. I like that. I like seeing where they have that. I like seeing them either have wins at the distance or stretching out. He's got it in his last race. So in the time form rating, got a 116 time form rating last time out, which is very good compared to most of this field. And the other horse that I really like here is a horse that actually ran third to her last time, or him, 2 back, and that's the 4 Lion, the Lion in Winter. Ran third in that race, in that grade 1, and then came back in another grade 1 at Ascot and finished second. And that was in a 16 horse field. These Europeans know how to run in big fields, and that's something I think some of these American horses don't always know how to run in, are these full turf fields that, all year I feel like the joke is that, you get these turf races in New York and there's 5 or 6 horses. You get them in Kentucky, there's, 5, 6, 7 horses. And then, California, you're lucky if you get 6. So the fact that some of these horses just have more experience running against big fields, they get their main jockeys coming over for a big day like this, also I think is great. If one of those races where if Buick doesn't ship to ride Notable Speech, you're kind of like, maybe. But when they send the jockey from across the pond in reality for 1 or 2 mounts on a weekend, hard to think they're not going to fire. And, maybe they don't win. But I think the value is here because, I think this is a race where Notable Speech probably goes off at 2-1, I'm going to guess. And the other odds are you're probably roughly going to get the odds that are on the screen right now, as long as there's no scratches. So your double prices are going to look great. I think this is an amazing betting race. So I'm very excited for this.
Here's our picks. I'll go 5-10 with the 2-6, 8-10. Vinny's going to go 1-5 with the 2-3, 4-10. Both of our tickets will cost you $8. This betting in our app will be open after the Friday Daily Double finishes up. So you'll have to get that in Friday night or Saturday. So be sure to be paying attention to that. Vinny, is there anybody in our last minute here that you might want to shout out over the course of the 2 days that you're really excited to bet?
Ooh, that's tough. That is very tough. Why don't you start? Give me a second here.
Citizens Bowl for me. I'm going to go Citizens Bowl in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I know Nisos obviously looks like a big threat in there, but I think Citizens Bowl is one that I'm not seeing a lot of chatter about. He's 10-1. He's loves Del Mar, loves the distance. I think this is going to set up pretty nicely for him, for Bob Baffert. So Citizens Bowl at 10-1. If you want to turn this daily double into a pick 3, he might be one that you want to close it out with. So I'm excited to maybe try to take a shot with him.
All right, yeah, that race seems very, very open in my opinion. So I think that will be a good race to make some money off of. Though the one horse that I actually really like is race number 5. It is the Turf Sprint. I really like Montorius, and I think you're going to get a price on Montorius. And he's one of those. He's horse for course. He might not, again, like if you like another horse, like I do like a couple others in there. I like Arizona Blaze, AG Bullet. I think will be your favorite and will be tough in there. But Montori is just he loves this track, and just one of those like horse for course and turf sprints is something that you pay attention to. So he's probably going to be like 8-10-1, I would have to guess. I didn't really see the morning lines for that race, but can't imagine they're going to be super low on Montorius. So
he's a 7-2 favorite.
Is he really? Okay, well that changes things. Is he really the 7-2 favorite?
I like Arizona Blaze at 5-1 and bring the band home at 12-1 in that race.
Yeah, I like Arizona. I thought Arizona Blaze would be a heavy favorite there. Okay, well that's crazy.
There you go.
That's all right. Well, yeah, all right. Well, that would be my exacta then. Would be those two. But yeah, I like Montorius is a horse for course, and then I think Hope Road looks really good in the Philly Mare Sprint.
Very good. That's some picks from us. Put in the comments who you like. Enjoy Breeders' Cup weekend, everybody. Take care.